So hello, yeah. The Welcome to Elevate the Conversation. We're going to be doing this kind of um, little interview thing with people in the industry that I think are really important. I think it's important to hear from people in the industry, realtors, mortgage lenders, other people. And so today we have Damian Squires, branch manager with My Morgo in Austin, Texas. Damian, hello. How are you?
Hi there. Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been doing this crazy mortgage thing since, realistically, my first loan was originated in 1997 here in the Austin market. Was a loan officer who worked for a small brokerage. Just really great, exciting thing to get into kind of right out of college and into the world of lending, and it was something that really attracted attracted me, and then I wanted to learn more. So I actually ended up going into wholesale mortgage lending for a long time, and did that, of course, until 2008 when the wholesalers started going away as the market changed, and got into uh, retail lending, and really went to work as business development executive for a small company here in Austin. We were fortunate enough to have just a excellent team. Our executive leadership team is just doing amazing things. I'm actually partnered with one here under Austin Capital Bank. And then, another one of my counterparts runs a startup that went to Wall Street without a presentation deck, and built $75 million in instant capital. So, the other gentleman that was on our executive leadership team ended up running actually running the whole country now. He just got promoted for the nation's oldest mortgage lender. So we were fortunate enough to really build something special from 2008 through 2014, and then the company was sold to a large lender, and I came back into after a couple of more runs at an executive team. I basically threw my hands up and just said, I'm going to go help people get loans, and just utilize the all of the experience that I have to really focus on just individually helping folks with the process, and you know the the process that has become cumbersome,
Yeah.
and then really explaining the why behind it. But we started our brand here um, almost a year ago. My Morgo is a venture. We're a DBA of Austin Capital Bank, and really exciting. Our app launched in May. We've been fortunate enough to partner with a very large real estate brokerage based out of Austin. That's Texas, covers Texas now, and eventually we'll move into Colorado beside them, and Florida. So we've got a lot of great opportunity, a lot of loans being done. Got a talented team. We're adding to our team daily. Just in the last week, we've added a couple of originators to help support the business that we have coming in, and just a lot of great things. It's a great time to be in the business, especially in Texas right now.
Yeah, yeah. So you bring a lot of experience to that retail side, really
Yeah,
helping people get get those home loans closed for sure. Um,
yeah.
so what's going on? What's the latest right now in the mortgage industry today? I mean, where are the rates at?
Oh,
Or what
just kind of,
qualifications, guidelines? What's going on? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, rates are gaining back. I'm looking over here at the 2.5% coupon mortgage-backed securities. I think a lot of folks don't really understand that side of the business, even though there's several in our business that don't understand it. But
Yeah.
what I really like to do is stay in tune with just exactly what's happening, and where those mortgage-backed securities, where those coupons are trading, and we've gained we've gained a good share of it back. The scare in Afghanistan, really, when you look at the dates on the trading on this specific coupon, we lost about 100 basis points, which therefore increases the interest rates.
Yeah.
We've gained most of that back. I mean, today we're about 45 basis points uh, from a peak of 727, kind of right before the whole people got wind of exactly how things were going overseas, and the market, the MBS market is its own security instrument, and that's what I think, where our team does a good job is really explaining, hey, this is something that, while traditionally it's mirrored the 10-year treasury, it's not necessarily beholden to it. So I think, that level of education is what we really focus on, in educating our borrowers and our buyers, and, where those interest rates are going. But, we're seeing some great rates. I mean, I
Yeah.
always joke with people, my first home purchase was an FHA loan, and it was 8.5%. So,
Yeah.
I folks, and certainly I'm not quoting any rates today, but when not on this video at least,
Yeah. Yeah.
when you see a range of rates that go anywhere, in the sub four market, or even sub three, that's an exciting time to buy. That's a lot of cheap money. And so
Yeah.
I
It
think
is.
that has, that's increased the buying power of individuals, which is necessary in specific markets, especially Austin.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what about the guidelines and the qualification levels? I mean, what are you seeing for, like, for FHA? What does it kind of take for an entry level score from a credit score perspective?
Credit scores, we actually will go down to a 580. It's real tough to get those bought, so to speak, because the
Hmm.
investors out there are very limited. There's a lot of overlays. You've got to have some things like, an institutional verification of rent. Well, typically, if their scores are in that range, they haven't really rented from,
Hmm.
any sort of institution that's going to give them a verification of rent. It's usually private
Hmm.
landlord situation. It's tough because they have to have a specific amount of reserve. So while the scores are while there's programs available, we love working with you and your team to get those people to a better position, to where it's not so expensive for them, where it's the MI is not so expensive. Whether you're looking at FHA or conventional, that FICO score has an impact on uh, their mortgage insurance. So it's one of those things that we love. We would love to help people. We'd love to really advise them from a long term perspective, though, and that's what the way that I look at it is. Can you do it today? Yes, but if
What's
you
the
work
yeah.
for 6 months and get these things removed, get these things corrected, because a lot of times what we see are mistakes, and
Yeah.
people sometimes don't even know what they have on there. They're not
No,
in tune
all the
with it.
time.
So, we like to look at things. While I'd love to do a deal for them today, what I'd rather do is work with them for the long term to get them to a position where they're doing something that's good for their family, and not just something that they want to do.
Yeah, that's so smart. So you
Yeah.
mentioned, the Austin market and the other markets around Texas. What's the real estate market like in Austin, Corpus, and the areas that you cover?
Well, yeah. So we lend state. Well, we actually lend in 49 states, every state except for New York. We do a handful of deals out of state. That just hasn't been our primary focus. So our primary focus is, obviously Austin. This is our hometown. We do 60% of our business in Austin and the surrounding Central Texas marketplace, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Dallas, of course, a little bit in Houston, not as much as we'd like. I'd like to open up Houston a little more, but I think it's no secret that, well, I know it's not a secret because there's phone calls every day from people either transferring with the large companies that have decided to make Austin their home base, and just Texas in general, because we have such great and favorable business regulations, tax regs for businesses that are wanting to get out from under the umbrella of a state that may that it's just going to cost them millions of dollars. So I get calls from employees of Apple, Amazon, future employees of Tesla,
Definitely.
getting ready, Google, the just about every has a big presence here as well in Austin. So
Mhm.
from a market perspective, there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of transfers coming into Austin, and it's not just Austin. From what I see, we've done a great deal of um, VA deals, moving to Corpus, moving to San Antonio. So we see a lot of activity just in general of people moving to Texas, and it's obviously I'm born and raised here, and just love my state, love being able to help people find a home and find a long-term place for their family. It's a very good environment. The Austin
Yeah.
market is nuts. It's there's still a good deal of houses going. I had a client put in an offer $100,000 over asking price this
Wow.
past weekend, and lost. It's you still see that. It's not as I would say egregious as it was in April and May, where you had the 400 to $500,000 price point, and those were going for 100,000 over left and right.
Wow.
Today, at least from my perspective and the loans that I see, it's in the higher price points. It's in the 900 to 1.3 range, where you're seeing the $100,000 over asking going for. It's not as common as it was back in April and May, when of course there was a lot less inventory.
Yeah. So what about opportunities for FHA buyers? Are there a lot of opportunities for FHA buyers in the Austin area, or do you have to kind of get
It's
outside a
That's a
little bit?
tough one. It's they're going to have to go outside. I mean, it's really tough, and that's the unfortunate thing, is that with the influx of people coming in, the low inventory. I haven't looked this week, but we were like zero point 0.8 months of inventory, which of course equilibrium 6 months. With the low inventory, of course, supply, and demand are out of whack. There's just no supply and there's a lot of demand. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, for those folks that kind of have been around Austin, I've talked to, several throughout this year that have been here, and uh, you know, they're an FHA candidate, but they just kind of missed the boat
Yeah.
as the price point has increased over that $500,000 mark in Austin proper, so to speak. That's we're doing loans all over, and I think a lot of even the folks that are moving here are still they're trying to not be in a suburban or an urban environment. A lot of them, I even the guys that are moving here from maybe California or New York, they're actually just going out and buying in some more rural areas. I'm doing some loans out towards Lockhart, and
Oh, yeah.
I know there's a huge facility going in Lockhart, so eventually that will succumb to sort of the urbanization. But realistically, FHA clients, most of them are having to go outside Austin proper.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're just going to Lockhart for the barbecue. You never know.
That is barbecue capital of Texas.
It
So I
is.
think there's a couple of places that Cooper's and Llano can give them a run for their money.
Yeah, Cooper's is
So,
Cooper's is good. All right, I'm
the
about to get hungry
original, the
now.
original one, yeah, the
Yeah,
original one.
it is good. So what do you think is the biggest thing holding buyers back right now from qualifying or just completing the process of, finishing off that home loan?
Well, what I see is a lot of fatigue. I mean, really educating, and I work very closely with our agents uh, to make sure that everybody's on the same page. When we go into a transaction, we look at it and we say, okay, this is the price point. Here's what you can afford. Here's what you can go over on the asking price. Without breaking the bank, so to speak, and really setting that expectation. With some buyers, it's difficult. Some buyers, it's taken them losing 4 or 5 offers to realize that, their expectation of going in and negotiating and
Hmm.
being, 3 grand under asking, or anything, asking for the owner's title policy to be paid, which we actually have seen that come back. But I think, to answer your question, what we see a lot of is people realistically just wrapping their minds around it. Even folks moving from Dallas. I've got a gentleman who just got offered a job at the University of Texas. Hook 'em, that's for you, Chris.
Gig 'em.
Just got offered a job. Yeah, just got offered a job at the University of Texas, and he's moving from the Metroplex DFW, and the sticker shock. I mean, the sticker
Yeah.
shock. From moving from a suburb of Dallas,
Dallas, yeah.
and seeing what a suburb of Austin cost, and really, it's in some cases it's twice as much as what he was paying there. So it's while it's not there in all places, obviously Dallas has very high end subdivisions
Yeah,
or
yeah.
areas as well. But like for like, there's a huge difference in the overall cost. So, sticker shock is one of the things, just getting people used to that. And then uh, the idea that, if you, I told a couple from California, they were first time home buyers, and they said, hey, can you give us a pre-qual on this amount? This is the house. And I said, then you need to make the offer, because if you don't, this won't be your house. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, I think coaching people in doing the getting used to the environment that we're in, and letting them know that this is a very aggressive market, and getting people used to it, being a shoulder to cry on when they lose it. I
Yeah.
think my agents are some of the hardest working agents around, and they're counselors half the time.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have to they have to really put up with a lot on that front end. So I don't I kind of, once I take it over, once we get a purchase agreement, I kind of let my agents take a breather and go. They have the trust and knowledge that we're going to handle it for them. So um, I think that's one of the reasons for our success, is that the agents can kind of step out of it at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I kind of, my last final point here is kind of wraps into what you were just saying. I mean, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give to buyers in the Texas real estate market?
I think just have an open mind, and really ensure that you do your homework. Get partnered with a great agent. I think that's the best thing that you can do. A great agent and a great lender. One thing that we see, and we take each offer very personally. I ask my agents that they include me on the original offer, so that I can reach out to that listing agent and say, hey, we've got a highly qualified buyer. We're we're credit approved. We've already done all our due diligence. So essentially, we'll only be waiting on the collateral piece, which is the appraisal on the property. Any property issues, that's really the only thing that could bite us. And really, just ensure that you're working with professionals. I know the big you know plug right now is to go out and get some quote online, and have the lowest interest rate in town. But I can tell you that listing agents Um, and many of my agents do both. You know, a lot of the listing agents are going to look at that pre-qualification. They're going to see, you know, a big box lender, and they're going to say, this is not going to close, you know, in the contract, in the 30-day contract time, because
Yeah.
that big box lender doesn't have the relationships that your local lenders have. And this goes for, you know, when I say local, we're a Texas based company, and we have, you know, resources all over the state. And there's a lot of great lenders in Austin. You know, going back to my wholesale days, I've, you know, worked and worked with, and you know, a lot of them worked for me when I ran sales for different large companies. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great lenders in Texas, and I would just say, you know, ensure that you're working with a great lender, ensure that you're working with you know, a great realtor, and make sure your team is intact, because you're not going to be able to, you know, to win with just, you know, for lack of better term, half-assing it in this
Yeah.
market.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're, you know, and you know, ultimately you get what you pay for. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, you know, you can go to a discount brokerage, you can go to a discount lender, and you know, I've had so many clients come to us in tears because they passed on what we could offer them, and you know, a month later, an appraisal hasn't even been ordered,
Oh,
and you know,
geez.
their contract is, you know, is due in the next 3 days, and there's nothing I can do for them at that point. So
Yeah.
I would just say, do your homework, do your due diligence, and you know, make sure your team is working for you and can provide you with the service levels that it's going to take to close in this market. You've got, it's tough, 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 and it's, you know, it's, what's that that meme? Life is tough. It's even tougher when you're stupid.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, no,
But
that's great advice, and this was an amazing, talk here and interview, so I'm, so glad we got together to talk about this, and, um, I think it's so important for, you know, clients that we see in the credit repair industry to really understand these different pieces of it, and I tell people all the time, there's a lot more to qualifying for a home loan than just a credit score. Credit score is
oh yeah,
definitely important, but there's a whole lot, you know, more to it, and having a lender and even a realtor that understands the process, is so important, which is why we do so many classes where we teach our credit 101 for real estate class to our realtors, because I think it's so important that they understand credit. And then I know you're
yeah,
doing a lot of education with your realtors to understand the lending process. So
absolutely,
education is
absolutely.
definitely the key. So, Damien, how do people get in touch with you?
You know, you can visit our website, mymorgo.com. We're all over the internet. We've got, you know, a YouTube channel that we've done some interviews on. Of course, our website. You can reach out to me at 512-970-8205. That's my cell phone, and you know,
Great.
in the lending world, on the retail side, you're answering your phone all the time, and
Yeah.
you know, that's you work when the client has time, and that's
Yeah.
what we do.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, hey, Damien, I definitely appreciate it. Again, my name's Chris Busch. I'm the president of Elevate My Scores, and this is Elevate the Conversation.